Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive. Today we're tackling Stoicism, which I know is a popular topic, but we're going to be looking at it through a specific lens, and that lens is financial uncertainty.
It's fascinating, right? How these ancient philosophies can still be so relevant.
Absolutely. So we've got this motivational video script, and it's packed with some really practical Stoic wisdom. But before we jump into the nitty-gritty,
Yeah,
can you give us like a quick Stoicism 101?
sure. Stoicism, it's all about focusing on what you can control, your thoughts, your actions, your reactions, and then accepting what you can't.
So it's not about like eliminating uncertainty.
Right. It's more about shifting how we relate to it. Think of it like a ship in a storm. You can't control the wind or the
I
waves,
like,
but you can control how you steer the ship, how
yeah.
you adjust the sails. That's Stoicism in action. Okay, so it's about taking control where you can. The script jumps right into that with lesson 1. Differentiate what you can control. It even throws in this Epictetus quote, some things are within our control and others are not. But how do we actually put that into practice, like with something as concrete as rising prices?
Well, the Stoics actually had techniques for this, like negative visualization.
Negative visualization.
It's not about being pessimistic, it's about mentally preparing for setbacks.
Oh, okay.
So imagine those prices keep going up. What can you do now to mitigate the impact? Maybe you create a stricter budget, you hunt for deals, you cut back on non-essentials. The key is to shift from worry to action.
Huh. Negative visualization. That's a new one for me. But I can see how mentally rehearsing those tough situations could actually make you feel more in control.
Exactly. It's all about being proactive.
Okay, so lesson 2, redefine failure. The script uses this beautiful quote from Seneca. Life is not about waiting for the storms to pass, but learning to dance in the rain. How does that apply to real life setbacks, like losing your job?
That's where the Stoic view of failure gets really interesting. They didn't see it as an endpoint, but as a chance for growth, a chance for reevaluation.
So instead of dwelling on the job loss, you'd focus on what you could learn from it.
Exactly. They'd ask, what can I do differently next time? It's about turning a negative experience into a learning opportunity.
I love that perspective. Okay, so we've got negative visualization, redefining failure, and then there's lesson 3, practice gratitude. The script mentions Marcus Aurelius and his gratitude journal. I've tried journaling, but I can never seem to stick with it. How did the Stoics actually practice gratitude?
Gratitude was huge for them, but it went beyond just listing things they were thankful for. They used it to actively combat negative emotions, like fear and anxiety.
But even when things are tough, you focus on the good.
Exactly. Recognizing and appreciating the good things, no matter how small, can help you weather any storm, especially when you're feeling financially strapped. It's so easy to fixate on what you don't have.
Right. You get caught in that scarcity mindset.
But shifting that focus to what you do have can be incredibly powerful.
This is all making so much sense. But I'm sure our listeners are eager to hear more about how to actually apply all of this to their own lives. So we'll be back after a quick break to explore this further.
All right, so we're back, and we're diving deeper into these Stoic lessons. I have to admit, I'm still kind of stuck on this negative visualization thing. It just sounds so counterintuitive.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it's actually a really powerful technique. Think of it like a mental fire drill. You're not trying to make bad things happen,
Right.
but you are mentally preparing yourself for potential challenges.
Okay, so let's say I'm worried about losing my job. Instead of just freaking out, I should actually visualize it happening.
Yeah, exactly. You ask yourself, okay, if I lost my job, what would I do? What resources do I have? Who could I reach out to for support? By mentally rehearsing these scenarios, you're basically creating a plan of action.
That makes sense. It's like you're taking away the element of surprise.
Right. Instead of being blindsided by a setback, you've already mentally prepared for it. Okay, I'm starting to see how this could be helpful, especially when it comes to finances. So speaking of being proactive, let's go back to that idea of redefining failure. I know you mentioned that one really resonated with you.
It did. Yeah, I think it's because for most of my life, I saw failure as this huge, scary thing.
Yeah, I feel that.
But the Stoics had a completely different perspective. They saw failure as just a part of life, and even more importantly, as an opportunity for growth.
So instead of beating yourself up over a mistake,
Yeah.
you use it as a learning experience.
Exactly. They believed every setback, every so-called failure, held valuable lessons.
Oh, I like that. So let's say you make a bad investment. Instead of dwelling on the loss, you'd ask, what can I learn from this?
Right. And how can I avoid making the same mistake again?
Yeah.
The Stoics were all about taking ownership of their actions.
And focusing on what they could control.
Exactly. Which includes learning from their mistakes. They believed that self-reflection was crucial for growth and progress.
So it's like they're saying, don't let a setback define you. Use it as fuel to move forward.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Yep.
And remember, everyone makes mistakes, especially when it comes to money. The key is to not let those mistakes derail you.
But to use them to become a better decision maker.
Exactly.
This is all so inspiring. It's not just about enduring hardship. It's about using those experiences to become stronger and wiser.
Right. The Stoics believe that true strength came from facing adversity head on and using those challenges to refine your character and your approach to life.
Okay, I'm loving this Stoic mindset. So we've talked about negative visualization. We've talked about reframing failure. Now let's dive into that third lesson. Practicing gratitude. I mentioned earlier that I struggle with gratitude practices, like journaling, for example. I can never seem to stick with it.
Yeah, journaling can be tough.
So what other techniques did the Stoics use? Besides journaling, I mean.
Well, they had a whole bunch of techniques.
Yeah.
One of my favorites is contemplating the cosmic perspective.
The cosmic perspective.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of intense.
It might sound a bit out there,
Yeah.
but it's actually pretty simple. It's about taking a step back and appreciating the vastness of the universe.
So you're basically gaining a sense of perspective.
Exactly. You realize that your own problems are actually pretty small in the grand scheme of things.
I can see how that could be helpful, especially when you're feeling stressed about money.
It can be really grounding. Another technique they used was focusing on the impermanence of everything.
Impermanence.
Yeah, the idea that both good and bad things are temporary.
Okay, so if you're going through a rough financial patch, you remind yourself that it won't last forever.
Right. And on the flip side, if you're experiencing abundance, you savor those moments knowing they too will eventually pass.
That's a really interesting way to look at things. So it's like finding the silver lining in every situation.
Exactly. And that's what the Stoics were all about. Finding the good, the meaningful, even in the face of adversity.
I'm starting to see how this Stoic approach can apply to so many areas of life, not just finances.
Absolutely. It's about shifting your whole way of being.
Well said. Okay, I feel like we've covered a ton of ground, but I'm sure our listeners are eager to hear how all of this can be put into action. What are some practical takeaways they can start using in their own lives? My brain is like overflowing with all this Stoic wisdom. We talked about negative visualization, reframing failure, cultivating gratitude. It's amazing how such simple ideas can be so powerful.
It really is. The beauty of Stoicism is that it gives you practical tools to deal with life's ups and downs.
And it's not about being passive or pretending everything's okay. It's about facing those challenges head on.
Exactly. You use those Stoic principles to ground yourself, assess the situation, and then take action.
It's like you're taking control instead of letting fear and anxiety take over.
Right. You empower yourself to make smart decisions, even when things feel totally chaotic.
So for our listeners who are struggling with financial uncertainty right now, what's one thing they can do today to put these ideas into practice?
You know, even if things are tough financially, there's always something to be grateful for.
Yeah.
Maybe it's having a place to live or food on the table.
The support of family and friends.
Exactly. Take a moment to appreciate those things. It might seem small, but that little shift in perspective can make a big difference.
It's about finding those bright spots, even when things are difficult. You know, it's funny, as we've been talking, I've been doing a little negative visualization exercise myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, I'm a freelancer, so financial uncertainty is kind of a constant for me.
Right.
And one of my biggest fears is going through a dry spell with work. No projects coming in.
Yeah, that's a common one.
But as we were talking about negative visualization, I started thinking, okay, what if that happened? What would I do? And just mentally going through that scenario, it actually calmed me down a bit.
I bet. Because you started to create a plan. You took away some of that fear of the unknown.
Exactly. That's what I love about Stoicism. It's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about having tools to deal with those difficult emotions and situations.
And remember, Stoicism is a journey. It's not like you just flip a switch and you're a Stoic. There will be times when you stumble,
Yeah.
when you get caught up in those negative thoughts.
Yeah, for sure.
But the important thing is to keep coming back to those Stoic principles. Keep learning. Keep growing.
It's like building a muscle.
Exactly. The more you practice, the stronger you become.
So find what works for you. Maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's negative visualization.
Maybe it's contemplating the vastness of the universe.
Right. Whatever helps you find that inner peace and navigate those challenges with a little more grace and wisdom.
I love that.
Well, this has been such an incredible deep dive. I feel like I have a whole new set of tools to deal with uncertainty.
Me too.
Not just financial uncertainty,
Yeah.
but in all areas of life.
Exactly. And remember, you're not alone in this.
Yeah.
The Stoics believed we're all connected. So by helping yourself, you're also helping others.
What a beautiful thought.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up, I want to leave everyone with a little challenge. We've been talking about gratitude. What's one thing, no matter how small, that you're grateful for right now?
Yeah, take a moment to really appreciate that.
And as you go about your day, keep looking for those little moments of gratitude. They're everywhere.
They really are.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into Stoicism and financial uncertainty. We hope you found it helpful and inspiring.
Yes, thank you for listening.
And remember, keep practicing, keep learning, keep growing.
Until next time.